4:30 in the morning. I can't sleep. Um, it's been a long day. But I finally have the motivation to start this new video series that I've been thinking about for 1 to 2 years. Something separate from my video game channel, something separate from my live streams, where I want to talk about ideology, politics, general life stuff. And I figured I would start this series with probably the most important question that James Madison and Thomas Jefferson and the rest of the founding fathers thought of when they were founding this country, when they were writing those documents. And it's a simple question. It's a question you probably never thought about when you were growing up. You may think about it when you're older. You may not. Some people never think about it. And the question is, what is a right? You'll often see politicians on either side of the aisle claiming that this or that is a fundamental human right. But I don't think any of their arguments hold water until they can answer the fundamental question, what is a right? You can claim that this or that is a human right. But if you don't explain what a right is, how can you answer that? How can you make that claim? And a few years ago, I thought about this question and I went to the internet. I tried to find an answer and I really couldn't find an answer that satisfied what I was looking for. So I came up with my own definition, and I've been sharing this definition for a few years. I'm starting to see some of my other friends start to share this definition, and that tells me it's spreading, and that's a good thing. And it's simple. A right is anything you can do with your own individual sovereignty without infringing on the sovereignty of others. It's simple. A right is within you. It is inalienable. If you go online, go to Wikipedia, you'll find various other definitions of rights. They'll use words which I do not believe in. For instance, Wikipedia will say that they'll use the word entitlement in their definition of rights, and I don't agree with that. And that word stems from the idea of positive rights and negative rights. A negative right is inalienable. A negative right is something you have by the nature of your being. It exists because you exist. So your right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness are inalienable rights. These are things people cannot take away from you without infringing on your rights. That's a negative right. They can only be taken away. A positive right, on the other hand, is something that can only be given to you, something that can only be added to your being. A positive right has to be given to you by somebody, such as government. So if a politician wants to tell you that healthcare, food, water is a fundamental human right, someone has to give you that food, healthcare, and water. And if someone can give you something, that also means they can take it away. And that makes it not a right. That makes it an entitlement. That makes it a privilege. Anything that you cannot do on your own is not a right. Speech is a right because no one has to give you anything for you to express your speech. Now, having the freedom of speech doesn't give you the right to express your speech on someone else's platform because they don't have to give you their platform. They have a right to that platform. You don't. You have a right to your speech, but not speech on their platform. And we can see that the founding fathers thought of this, at least when they were writing the Bill of Rights in their amendments. Most of their amendments are short. First 10 amendments, the Bill of Rights, very simple. The easiest example is the Second Amendment. Second Amendment explicitly states the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. But notice that the Second Amendment doesn't say you have a right to receive arms. It doesn't say you have a right to arms. It says you have a right to keep and bear arms. You have a right to pursue happiness. You do not have a right to receive happiness. You have a right to pursue health care. You do not have a right to receive health care. To receive health care, to receive happiness, to receive a firearm, requires the input from someone else, unless, of course, you fashion that firearm or healthcare or happiness on your own. But if you want it from someone else, it's not a right. Milton Friedman liked to use the example of a pencil. He often referenced a short story or poem called I, Pencil. A pencil. Now, he spoke about it in economic terms, the amount of effort, the amount of people that were involved in creating a pencil. There's lots of other people besides you going to the store to buy a pencil for this pencil to exist. Now, if you were to find some piece of graphite, fashion your own pencil, work off the land, have your own pencil, if it's not someone else's land, fair be it. You have a pencil. But if someone else is involved in the creation of this pencil, you do not have a right to the pencil. Now, you can barter for this pencil. You can have someone else voluntarily give you this pencil with some sort of exchange of goods. That's on you. That is your pursuit of happiness and property. But you do not have a right to the pencil. Nothing which has to be given by somebody else can be a right. By definition, that is foundational to this country. We are a country founded on rabid individualism. And if you expect handouts from somebody else, you do not understand what a right is. Anyways, thank you. I'll be back for more.